Hello, a very warm welcome to my webinar, Benefits of Becoming a Dementia-Informed Therapist. My name's Nicole Mitchell. I'm a holistic massage practitioner and trainer, and I specialise in this field. So who on earth am I? Well, part of my business is called Massage for Dementia, and this is a two-pronged business, if you like. I go out to people who are in my community who live with dementia to visit them in their homes, whether that be personal homes or residential and nursing homes, and I provide massage for them in a dementia-informed way. The other part of my business is the training side, where I provide training to carers or body workers like yourselves, therapists and professionals who work in this field. I have different grades of training. So my one-day massaging persons living with dementia course is for anybody to attend who wants to use therapeutic touch to improve connection, engagement and well-being of a person living with dementia. And then my two-day course is for qualified or qualifying body workers. So that includes physiotherapists, osteopaths, chiropractors, as well as massage therapists and reflexologists. And that's really about deepening your knowledge a great deal more, covering more of the body and really looking to either deepen your knowledge and or specialise in this field. I also have a one-day aromatherapy for persons living with dementia course, and that's for qualified or qualifying aromatherapists who again wish to use essential oils to improve well-being and outcomes for people who live with dementia. I'm going to touch on language as well, because I think it's really important to say this from the get-go. The reason that I call my courses Massaging Persons Living with Dementia is to really highlight that actually it's about the person first and acknowledge their personhood rather than see the disease first. And I think it just changes the perspective that we have. The other thing that I want to say is that I will not use the term dementia sufferers. Having listened to many people who live with dementia over the years, the overall message that I get is that they don't like to be called dementia sufferers. It's quite negative, and some people can find it quite disabling. So I would encourage us to use, I think, language that is kinder and more enabling. And that's why I will call people who live with dementia, or a person who lives with dementia. So now that we've got that cleared up, that's one sort of side of my business. The other side is my little massage clinic, which I have down in Cornwall. So that's my practice where everybody is welcome, that runs from the Blue Lotus Therapy Centre in Cornwall. I'm a member of the Federation of Holistic Therapists, and my massage courses are accredited with the FHT. I'm also registered with the Complementary and Natural Healthcare Council, and I'm on their register. I think it's important that we do this because I think it gives our profession credence. I'm a writer. I love writing about my subject, especially within the field of dementia. So I write blogs, I write articles, particularly for International Therapist. And I also do short sort of reels and videos for people to give people tips on how to approach a person with dementia maybe, or to provide my reflections on something that might be in the news at the moment. I am the mum of a grown-up, and I'm part owner with my partner of a piece of land in Cornwall. Now, the reason I'm telling you a bit about this will all become clear in a moment. A few years ago now, my partner and I sold up our house completely and decided to buy a piece of land so that we could do something and leave a legacy that we felt would sit better with ourselves. And now we are well into growing, or have got us, a young permaculture food forest. And again, the reason I mention this is because I suppose the permaculture principles of earth care, people care, fair share infuse the way I live and the way I work. Oh, yeah. And I'm owned by a cat. So I thought it would be good to start with a few stats. Dementia, or at least facts as well. So dementia is on the increase. There are currently 944,000 people who live with dementia in the UK, according to Alzheimer's Research UK. And this is set to rise to about 1 million by 2030 and about 1.6 million by 2050. So as you can see, that's quite a lot of people, and that's quite a lot of people we, as therapists, can be providing a service to. So I want you also maybe just have a think at the moment what you think are maybe the top 3 or top 2 causes of death in the UK. What comes to mind? Maybe cancer, maybe heart disease, maybe something else. Well, it might surprise you to know that the leading cause of death since 2012 is actually dementia. And I don't think those numbers are going to go down anytime soon. Of course, we've lived through some interesting times in recent years, and COVID may also have an impact on the increased risk of cognitive decline, according to Shah et al. In 2024. They noted that new onset or younger onset dementia, especially with females, was a higher risk within our population. So, as if those aren't enough reasons to want to become dementia informed in your practice, here are a few more. So right at the top of the list is inclusivity. Now, it's my belief that people who live with dementia tend to be very hidden in our society. And I think we have to work a little bit harder to connect with people and offer our services and make sure that those services are dementia informed. I think it's reassuring to people if they know that, you know, you can, one, really make a difference, and two, that you are dementia informed. And I would even go so far as to say we really, although we touch on this in the 1-day course, in the 2-day course, we also go into a trauma-informed approach as well, because by and large, most people I come across who live with dementia are exposed to some kind of trauma as well, whether that be the trauma of diagnosis or living with a disease that is always catching them out, or whether they're going back and reliving past traumas. There are all sorts of reasons why I think it's also important to become trauma informed in our practice too. But that's just a little aside. And by championing dementia-informed communities, I think if we do our part as individuals and as a profession, then hopefully we'll be addressing that inclusivity issue. And again, reducing stigma. I think the more conversations we have about dementia, the less stigma there will be, the more open people will be to maybe coming forward to gain support from services like ours. Becoming dementia informed means that we need to understand a bit better and be able to talk the language. So understanding the syndrome is really important. And if you talk the language well, then again, you'll be able to confidently connect with people in your communities, whether they be potential clients or other professionals. It's really important. So I don't know if you know already, but I'll go through you know, dementia as a syndrome. So that's the umbrella term for all sorts of different types of dementia. So whether that's Alzheimer's, vascular dementia, Korsakoff's, Parkinsonian dementia. There's also Lewy body's dementia, and various other. In fact, there may well be hundreds of different types of dementia. So understanding the syndrome and understanding the different types of dementia under that umbrella, I think helps us speak the language confidently when we work out in the community. Having dementia-aware approaches is really important. So it might be that you hold space a bit differently. It might be that you communicate differently. It might be that you use different approaches as well. So, for example, I tend to work a lot more slowly about sort of setting the scene with people, and I'll use lots of verbal and physical reassurance, both before, during, and after a treatment. And being aware of these approaches can really help enable a person living with dementia feel comfortable about having a hands-on treatment with you. And I said the word enabling there. Really, it is about enabling somebody, and it's just as important for someone to be enabled to say no as it is to say, yes, I'm comfortable about receiving a treatment. It's also enabling in other ways because you can learn ways to help a person engage better and feel more connected again to their loved ones, their community, etc. You can also learn techniques that are kinder to your body. So the kind of techniques that I use are very gentle. And I also take ergonomics very seriously as well. So if you're working with someone in a hospice bed or a hospital bed, you know, the ones that raise up and down, etc., and someone's right in the middle of the bed, and you know, you want to really meet them where they're at, then there are techniques that I use to make sure that you're not going to get that burn as you're working in a way that you may have become used to. So we look at different ways of looking at and learning techniques that are kinder to your body. And just the fact that it's so gentle as well, again, is just by its very nature, it's going to be kinder on your body too. So becoming dementia-informed means that you can understand how you can improve the life of the person living with dementia, but also their carers. And it means that you would be better placed to give advice and tips, not just to the person who lives with dementia, but to their loved ones and so on as well, helping empower them to make life a little smoother all round. And if someone is having their needs met through the treatment that you give, it might mean that their medication is reduced. And this is something that you can do to sell your service well, is, you know, advise that sometimes if someone who has BPSD, which means behavioural and psychological symptoms of dementia, and quite often due to the anxiety or the depression that they're living with, it might mean that they're medicated more regularly. However, I am of the school of thought that just because someone is presenting with agitation, depression, anxiety, I don't always think that that's to do with the progression of the disease per se. That's sometimes down to an unmet need or unexpressed feelings, and need to be connected. And when we can do this through our approaches and the type of treatment we offer, sometimes it means that we can reduce medication. And I think that's a big sell in my book. And it means that we can improve our communication and our connection with people, again, by learning those approaches that are just more enabling for people who live with dementia to understand. It tends to be more sensory based. To be dementia informed also means that you really need to know people's rights. So understanding some of the basic laws that support both yourselves and the people you support, that's really important. So there are things like the Equality Act, the Human Rights Act, and the Mental Capacity Act, for example, which have really helped me and my clients out in the past. If I felt that a certain practice wasn't right, then I have known enough to think, oh, I just need to go and check that law, and knowing which laws to then go and pick through, I have then been able to come back and say to a person who was supposed to be providing support, actually, according to this act and this act, this person is allowed to do X, Y, and Z. So I found it invaluable to know the Human Rights Act in the past. And also with the Mental Capacity Act, that's really important too, because sometimes people can talk about someone having no capacity. And I like to think that actually, if you really pick the Mental Capacity Act apart, we as supporters are supposed to put in the scaffolding where there are gaps in capacity to enable a person to make a decision for themselves as much as possible. So knowing these things, I think is really important. It means we can support our clients as best we can. It also means that you will have a person-led service. I know that some of the terminology has been person-centered service, quote marks, person-centered service over the years, but I would say we can go better than that. By being dementia informed, truly dementia informed, we are person led. We always treat the client as the expert. We always listen to them with our ears, eyes, hands, heart, and conscience. And that means, being very present. Being dementia informed means that we can get a better grasp on verbal and non-verbal consent. And I would say one of the biggest barriers to people going into this field is their confidence around the non-verbal consent. And that's something that I really like to pick apart with people who attend my course. And being dementia informed, well, it increases your confidence and your competence when you're working with vulnerable people, especially if they're behaving in a way that we might find tricky. So yes, I think improving people's competence through understanding why people act in certain ways is absolutely key to becoming dementia informed. And by becoming dementia informed, actually, lots of those skills are really transferable to maybe other vulnerable people. And not even vulnerable people, but certainly within my practice, my general practice, if you like, lots of clients have definitely benefited from me deepening my own skills within the area of dementia. And I would say by becoming dementia informed, if we really are going to walk with someone, towards death and the end of their life, I think we can also become part of their end of life care plan. And that tends to mean that our our treatments become so gentle and so non-invasive almost. Again, by becoming dementia informed, we can get a really good grasp of that. And again, those are transferable skills, because that's something that you can maybe take to people who don't live with dementia, but are also entering the end of stage of their life. Oh yes, and another good reason to become dementia informed, it's wonderful work. It's absolute gold. Just recently, I was seeing one of my regular gentlemen, and he offered me two really unexpected thank yous. One, at one point, it was as I was actually massaging his legs, and I just had a wonderful thank you out of the blue. And also, after I'd finished, just as I was about to take my leave and I was saying my goodbyes, I had such a heartfelt thank you. And it's stuff like that that is just absolute gold and brings a twinkle to your eye and a smile to your face. And yeah, I can ride on that sort of gold for weeks. So in short, being a dementia-informed therapist allows you to make a positive impact on the lives of people living with dementia, people who may be unable to ask for or be hidden from our service. It's a dance that combines a myriad of therapeutic skills with compassion and understanding, really meeting the person where they are in that moment. And there was a review article done by Zhao, Gu and Zhang back in 2020, which had a really interesting sort of conclusion, and this is part of it. And they said the employment of massage therapy, either alone or in combination with aromatherapy or calming music, can significantly decrease agitation, aggression, stress, and anxiety in patients with dementia. Moreover, massage therapy can be beneficial for nursing personnel involved in taking care of patients with dementia. The combination of massage with aromatherapy seems to impart the most significant results in patients with dementia. So my takeaway from that is that if you really are thinking about going into this field, maybe specialising or adding it as a really worthwhile adjunct within your practice, I think it would be a really good idea to think about qualifying in aromatherapy as well, if you're not already. And I would definitely say that music, aromatherapy, and massage are like a magic combination, especially because music actually fires up every single part of your brain. And it's quite amazing because you can end up having what's called, sometimes always been referred to as, a quickening, where the synapses just start snapping much more readily, and people who weren't able to maybe even get a word out might start saying whole sentences and interacting with you, using a tone of voice that shows that they're understanding what you're saying, or they're keeping pace with what you're doing and saying. So yes, I would say those three are like a magic combination, but there are other wonderful aspects of therapy that you can sometimes bring into to add to your skill set or to enhance the treatments that you offer. These are the references that I've used in my presentation. So I'll just give you a moment to cast your eyes over those. And these are my contact details. You can contact me via my website, massagefordementia.co.uk, and you can also book on courses or an Empower Hour, which I'm now offering, which is like a consultation service. You can find me on all the usual socials, so on X and Instagram, Facebook and Blue Sky. And any questions at all, I'll be very happy to try and answer them for you. You can either give me a ring. You'll probably get through to the answer phone, but do leave a message because I always get back to people. Or if you prefer to email or message me through WhatsApp, etc., then you can get through to me and, leave your queries with me there. So thank you very much for listening to my webinar. It's always a joy to talk about the subject I'm most passionate about. And as I always say, when words escape us, touches us at all. Bye for now.